Sitting at the mouth of the Thames estuary, a stone's throw from London, lies Southend. It's the capital's closest seaside resort and the largest town in Essex. Since its rise to prominence during Victorian times, when the benefits of taking sea air were extremely popular, it was known as Whitechapel-on-Sea due to the amount of Londoners it attracted. Today, Southend has evolved into a unique place to visit with all the seaside trappings, plus plenty of hidden treasures that might just surprise you. The pier is the town's historical icon, as well as being the longest pleasure pier in the world. Now, since it was first built in 1830, it's been plagued with both natural and man-made disasters. Over the years, the pier has had to endure fires, boat crashes, 2 world wars, as well as beating off Mother Nature and the effects of the weather and the waves. With 7 miles of well-cared-for beaches from Shoeburyness to Leigh-on-Sea, you'll be spoilt for choice when it comes to pitching your deck chair. Each of the beaches has its own inspector and is cleaned twice daily throughout the summer holidays. If the water's too cold for you, there's plenty to keep you occupied elsewhere. A short amble from the pier and you can journey below the ocean waves at the Sea Life Centre. This is the Waifs and Strays tank. We've got Clyde down here, the stingray, who looks like he's having his lunch, and in the background we've got Henry the pufferfish now. And Henry was first brought in here. He had a big hole in his side where he'd clearly outgrown his tank at home. So he was brought here about 4 years ago, and I'm glad to say that he seems to be doing pretty well. Southend is also home to the Central Museum, which is crammed full of programmes for youngsters through the holidays. There really is everything inside these 4 walls. Information about archaeology, the Romans and the Victorians, and what's really cool for kids is that it's very interactive. Since London's Baker Street shut its doors, you might want to visit Southend purely for its planetarium, and let me tell you, the summer skies are fascinating for astronomy. Now, it might have escaped your attention, but just off the beaten track lies a medieval oasis which dates back to the 14th century. Hundreds of years ago, when witchcraft was prevalent in Essex, this old chest here actually belonged to the most famous White Witch of them all, the cunning James Murrell. Now, he only ever travelled at night and carried an umbrella, whatever the weather. Each room depicts life from the Middle Ages right through until Victorian Southend. This contraption is known as a scold's bridle, and it was used as a deterrent back in the 1600s when women were being malicious and spreading gossip. It would be placed around the head, they'd then be chained up, and the locals would probably throw vegetables at them. I think I prefer a bit of community service myself. For those of you with shorter legs, yet probably far more energy, I'd head for Adventure Island. From tiny tots to adults, it's open until 11 p.m. through the summer holidays. Now, what you might not realise is that Southend is also home to some of the best parks and gardens in the southeast, most of which have green flag awards and more recently exhibited at the Hampton Court Flower Show. If you do fancy a stroll along the coastline, I suggest heading for Leigh-on-Sea. Originally, the small town prospered from fishing and boat building. Back in the 17th century, Old Leigh was considered at one time one of the most important ports in England. And at one stage, because of its creeks and its close proximity with France, it was heavily involved in smuggling. So if you think this Essex town is famous only for its seaside, kiss-me-quick hats and candy floss, maybe with a second look you'll realise Southend is now a day of discovery and adventure, as well as family fun. And is just 40 miles from London. Now, our friends at C2C Railway and Adventure Island want to give you and your family the opportunity to win a day out at Southend. All you have to do is simply answer the following question.